Hello, my name's Duncan and welcome to Back Away from the Donkey Bath Books. This is my pick mix video. I think I'm up to number 17 now, which is quite an achievement. Not an achievement, but it's quite a surprise. And this is just sort of a random video. It's going to have some pick-up books I've picked up, what I've been reading, some weird conversations about nothing, and I don't know how long this is going to go on for. I've not really done much this week recording-wise because, well, I've had a lot on personally. And it's just been quite busy, and it's been quite hard to get back into the flow. I could have made a video yesterday, but I just sort of lost the will. So I'm doing a couple today, and there's one I'm working on for early next week, which is a bit more complicated, which is, if you're interested, is on the Spider Robinson book, God is an Iron. And it's just got a little more complicated than I expected it to. You know, I've been a bit out of the flow for the past few weeks, and I'm hoping to get back and actually do Android's Dream of Electric Sheep Blade Runner video that I keep promising, and get back to working there. It's just lots of stuff on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start today with what I've just read, which I've only just really read one. I read the Spider Robinson book short story this week, God is an Iron, which I said is really, really interesting, which is why I'm going to do a separate video on that. And I also finished Wilson Tucker's The Time Masters, which has got an awesome cover that I thought originally had nothing to do with the story, but at the end I found out it does have something to do with the story. I ended up really enjoying this. If you're going to read this book, don't go to Goodreads and read the reviews, because the reviews, they basically tell you the plot, and you don't want that. I may do a separate video on this or not, but the basic idea is you have this man that nobody knows the history of, who's a private investigator, all based around this place where they are building a spaceship to go to the stars. And it's just quite an interesting concept. It's trying to say too much without giving it away, without giving too much, I want to put in another video. It's got one of the best sort of paragraph openings that I've read for a long time, that makes you really, really want to read the book. And you get sort of about 2/3 of the book and you think, what did that actually have to do with anything? But it does all come together in the end. I said it's quite a shortish book. It's 160 pages. Wilson Tucker, he wrote lots of mysteries and detective novels as well, and you can tell that when you read this. I said, yeah, I think I probably will do a separate video just on this, maybe give some history of Wilson Tucker. So that was The Time Masters that I just finished this week. And I think that was it for the books I finished reading. And for next week, I am just starting, finally, getting onto the second book in The Eyes of the Otherworld, which is the second book in Tales of the Dying Earth, which I've been meaning to start for a while. I said I read the first one, I did my video, which you may or may not have seen, and I'll actually put a link at the end if you want to see that again. And I'm going to read The Eyes of the Otherworld this week. And I normally like to have at least one or two other books on the go, but I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I might do a book of short stories along with it. I've got a Brian Aldiss one that I'm thinking of, or just some random Buck Rogers stuff, but I don't know. Anyway, I'd like to also mention the fact that I'm probably going to be reading this month Arthur Hailey book, probably Airport, because Michael Romeo is doing his own little book club, and it's basically about fiction of the 20th century, and so I thought I might read along with it. He's an Arthur Hailey, you can read any Arthur Hailey books a month. I'll put a link to it down below, so I may read along. I know he's got a Discord channel that he's going to be discussing stuff on. Whether I go to that or not, I don't know, because I'm not a fan of Discord. I think it's a horrible, horrible piece of software, and it's what time I've got. But I will probably be reading along, so I'll probably be starting that in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to read. I haven't got it with me, but I am going to read Airport, and I've also got, let's have a look at the shelf over there. I think it's called The Newsroom or something like that. So I might see if I can get onto that one as well. But yeah, I'll put a link down to Michael Romeo's channel, him and his gorgeous little Yorkies, and he's doing his little book club, which it's nice, like wide open one, because it's basically just going to say, this is what sort of stuff we're going to read. Read what you want, and that's my sort of thing. So yeah, I have this week also done a few pickups which I really shouldn't, and I need to stop because I've got too many going on at the moment. But I thought I'd just show you what I've found, and probably after this week, probably won't be doing any more for quite a while, because I really need to stop. I've got an addiction. So I picked up 2 more of Ben Bova's Grand Tour books, Privateers and Moonrise. I've been slowly working my way through the Ben Bova Grand Tour books. You can read them in any order. They're no specific order. Really, they've got people do a chronological order, which is totally out of publication order, which I just think is weird. I think you should always read stuff in publication order, but that's just me. So I've got about, look behind me, I've got about 4 or 5 of them, I think. Now, I never read them when they originally came out, and I like Ben Bova as a writer. Another book that crossed my table is John Varley, Millennium. This is a shiny cover, and I was expecting actually a longer book than this. And inside you've got that as the inside cover. This is one of these shiny covers that never wears well, so how this has survived since, which edition is this? This is a edition from 1985, so how this cover has survived since 1985, I have no idea. But I was just looking at science fiction books I didn't know from that era that have got very well rated. See, even the spine is totally intact, which is fantastic. And I cannot remember what about. Something about a plane crash. Appalling mid-air collision between DC-10 and a 747 started all. Hundreds of smashed, shattered bodies were scattered among the debris, and Bill Smith and his team began a gruesome job of investigation. At first, it was just little things that didn't add up, like all the watches in the crash having stopped 1 hour before it happened, and the odd sensation of being followed and watched by people who were not there. But Bill started to discover things that really had no right being where they were, and found himself in the middle of the most extraordinary conspiracy. Yeah, never read any John Varley, so that would be quite interesting. The other big one I picked up was Jonathan Lethem. This is a more modern book, Fortress of Solitude. I know he's written the odd science fiction book, but I think this one is more sort of contemporary fiction about New York, though there is a sort of time travel element I've heard in this. But I watched a video that he did talking about A. Van Vogt. Was it? No, it's Stanislaw Lem, sorry. Which was quite interesting. And he said he did write a science fiction book that won some awards at one point. And I just saw this and thought, his name's Dr. Superman thing, whatever. Other thing is that I was in our local Red Cross, and the second of the Dirt Gently books, and I picked up the first one the other week. This is a first edition, UK first edition. So, hey. And I said, I've really got a problem. I really need to stop buying books for a little while. I need to step back and read what I have. But I'm not doing one of those weird challenges that Michael K. Vaughan does. And next one is, I've only got 2 more. Jack Williamson, Brother to Demon, Brother to Gods, which has got this gorgeous Jim Burns cover on, which I have in a book about there. Jim Burns is one of my favourite artists. I have a friend who knows him personally, and Jim Burns used to actually read the books before he did the art, compared to a lot of artists. So they all relate to the actual stories within them in some ways. And so I'm interested to read that at some point. And then the final 2 of normal books are A Brace of Doctors. James White, Star Surgeon. This is one of his sector books, sector general books. There was about 13, 14 of them. You read them separately. This is a beautiful corgi edition, yellow cover, in beautiful condition. Glue's intact. And this is from, what a year in it? 63. So the condition of that. Then I also picked up Alan Enorsi, Star Surgeon. Alan Norse was actually a doctor at one point. He wrote The Blade Runner. Nothing to do with the film. It's what they basically stole the title for the film, which is actually a pretty decent book. And I've actually talked about it before in the past, but what I wanted to do was, I have two surgeons, Star Surgeon and Star Surgeon, and I wanted to read them both and then talk about them both, because I thought that could be quite interesting. I said Alan Norse was actually a doctor, and then he stopped it and became a science fiction writer. James White, I was reading up on a lot of his stuff. He's somebody I'd never heard of, but he did a lot of books. I think there's about 14 of the Sector General books. I said that is in beautiful, beautiful condition. And finally, we have a book of fantasy art. I'm a bit of an artist. In another world, I would have been an illustrator, and I still put my hand in. I'm not brilliant, but I enjoy what I do. And this is one of the books that went missing in my sadly depleted books of the 90s that went missing. So I managed to find a copy of this for a reasonable price. And it's got artists. It's got Jim Burns, who I mentioned earlier. It's got Jim Burns. There's also Chris Foss in here. Ian Miller. I've got a print of an Ian Miller painting somewhere. And we go. Patrick Woodruff. Does some beautiful stuff. And sorry, some Sid Mead in here. Some of Sid Mead, who did a lot of designs for Blade Runner. And actually Jim Burns did have interest as well. And famous Chris Foss, who you see on all the Asimov books, whose covers very rarely have anything to do with literal books inside them. They just sort of asked him to put a spaceship on a cover. But he did glorious one. That's one on the, I think that's on the Caves of Steel, the British edition, UK edition cover. And then there's a bit about Martin Bauer, a model maker, who made this gorgeous Hammerstein from the comic 2000 AD there. But I've got a bunch of these sort of art books, so I might have to, if anybody's interested, I might do a separate video on it. Mention it down below if you're interested. Hey, I'm back. So I just had to go and help my wife with finding this little man here. Hey. Yeah, so I'm back. I think that's about all I've got to say, really. Oh yeah, I was going to say a little bit about I've seen a lot of videos, people going on about the censorship of Roald Dahl and James Bond and stuff. Stuff like this has gone on for centuries. Agatha Christie was cut back in the 1940s and stuff. I know that David Gerrold had a load of stuff cut from some of his War Against the Couture books because it included some gay relationships. Even Roald Dahl censored his own books about the Oompa Loompas back in 1971. It's always happened. I've got no real big issue. If it opens the literature up to other people, and as long as you can get hold of the original texts, I've got no issues. If you can't get hold of the original text, then I've got a few issues. But if you can, and it opens up literature, well, I think people are making a bit of a fuss about it. That's just me. Hey, little man. I'm hoping to read a little bit more this week. I said I'm probably going to pick a book of short stories or something. Hey, what are you doing? And little Gizmo's going to help me, aren't you? You can help me? Anyway, I will speak to you all very soon. I said I'm going to, hopefully on Monday, should be a video out about Spider Robinson's God is an Iron. I'm hoping to do a few more things on some short stories. And I've got some magazines I might include soon. But I'm not going to make any promises because I don't know what I'm going to be doing. So I hope you all have a good weekend or whatever you're doing, and get some good reading. And I will speak to you all very soon. Bye-bye. Hello. What are you doing? Should we put you down now?